I take time and I write down all the things that I love on my island. Best believe my list gon' be like 5 miles long. Best believe it's love that makes me sing this song. The cleanest breeze I know.
What's up, my beautiful people? This is your boy Stefan, your Afro-Grenadian ambassador. I welcome you all back to my channel. To all my subscribers, viewers, channel members, I appreciate all of you. Returning viewers, I see you. And don't forget to watch all the ads that are placed on my videos. I greatly appreciate it. Well, in today's video, my friends, we are going to clear up the misconceptions about Dougla. Now, I have spoken on the Dougla people of the Caribbean. I've done a video on that in time past, but I think it's, it is necessary for me to, talk about it again, because there are some misconceptions about who are Dougla people, and these are some things I have learned about Dougla people, and I would like to share with you.
Education time, guys. A Dougla is a person with two different race parents. One parent is one race and the other parent is another race, and it does not have anything to do with the person's skin color or their hair type. That doesn't make someone a Dougla. It's who their parents are makes them one.
Yes, guys, I thought it was necessary for me to share this because a lot of people place emphasis on Dougla-ship, or they label you as to be a Dougla based on how your features, how you look. You may have probably curly hair, soft texture hair. Your hair might be a little bit different from the average, black Caribbean person. Some of them might look at the color of your skin, your complexion. You may have light skin tone, and they will automatically classify you as a Dougla, or someone who is of mixed race, or someone who's, and that is so inaccurate, as this young lady have accurately pointed out. Now, scientifically, a Dougla is determined by your parents, okay? And I want to make this quite clear. It is not what people are assuming, or what some people are just making judgments about people's features and saying that, oh, you are Dougla, oh, you are this, or you are mixed. That is not what you are, because I have seen a lot of people right, who were supposed to be Dougla, or who people thought they had, they had mixed race in them, did the DNA test, and they turned out to be something else, right? So this woman is making it quite clear is that Dougla people of the Caribbean are not people based on are not determined based on the features, should not be labeled or described based on the looks, the hair texture. It has nothing, that does not matter, because there are a lot of Afro-Caribbean people who has, different types of hair texture. Some have curly hair texture, some have woolly hair texture, some hair texture might be soft, hard, That is the uniqueness of the Caribbean. The genetics of the Caribbean or Caribbean people is so complicated that you just cannot make an assumption based on people's feature. And what she's saying is that a Dougla person is determined by the parents they have. So if you have parents on one side is of African ancestry race and another side of Indian race, you are a Dougla. It's based on your parents. You can have the features. That is how, that is how it gets complicated. And I think that is what makes Dougla or Dougla people unique, because it's really a complicated scenario. It is not easy to determine unless you do a test, unless you do an ancestry test to find out the genetics that you're carrying, or the ancestry that is in your blood. All right. So the Dougla, you can have the features of someone who is mixed race of African and Indian, but the fact and the reality is you are not. All right. So that is what she's saying, is that it is your parents. You have to, the person's parents you have to look at. If the person's parent is of Indian and background, and the other parent is of African background, it can be the man, it can be the woman, then you are a Dougla. All right. So, guys, yeah, that is what I thought it was necessary for me to share about clearing up the misconceptions about Douglas. All right, Douglas people are people whose parents, one is African and another is Indian, as we have heard the young lady said it before. And there's another thing I want to clarify about being a Dougla in the Caribbean, and when I African and Indian mix. Now, one can be Dougla, but does not necessarily mean that they are Indians. Okay? You cannot classify them as Indians. And that again, as I said, that makes Dougla people unique. One can be a Dougla, but it depends on how, the percentage. The percentage. So one can be a Dougla and 50% African, 50% Indian. One can be a Dougla and can be, let's say, 60% Indian and the rest is African. One can be a Dougla and can be 80% African and the rest is Indian. So you cannot really classify Dougla people by just looking at the outward appearance of them. You have to look at the parental background, and the best way to know that is also to do an ancestry test. Now, there was something else that I came across, and I thought it was very intriguing, very interesting. And let me know what you think in the comment section below, guys. All that I said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. But there is something else about Dougla and coolie. Now, I know that not all Caribbean people or all Caribbean countries are familiar or use the term Dougla. In other parts of the Caribbean, Dougla people are referred to as coolie. But I came across this quite interesting video, and let's take a listen, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
Okay, we're just gonna go through quickly the difference between a coolie and a Dougla. I am a Dougla. A Dougla is someone who is black and Indian. So if you are black and Indian, you are a Dougla. Okay, and if you are from the West Indies. It is not a term that's of endearment. It was actually meant to call us a bastard. It's literally just a hierarchical differentiation of your proximity to blackness. If you're from anywhere in the West Indies, specifically Trinidad and Guyana, you know that some of your family is going to be Dougla and some of them is going to be coolie. I am Dougla, my mom is coolie. Someone who is more Indian and fully East Indian or South Asian that came as a indentured laborer would be coolie. Someone who is half black and half Indian would be Dougla. That is the difference. Even if you grow up with coolie heritage around you, it doesn't make you coolie. You're still in that same heritage as a Dougla would be.
And this, guys, I found to be quite interesting. I never knew that there was a difference between coolie and Dougla. Guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. I always, thought that coolie is same as Dougla and Dougla is same as coolie. I mean, in Grenada here, we use both terms. Sometimes we use Dougla, sometimes we use coolie in its context. They all have the context. And so, hearing this young woman says that there's a difference, that coolie or the Indians that were called coolie was the indentured servants that was taken from India to come here into the Caribbean and work. They were coolie. They were people who was working for low wages. So when they were promised better life here in the Caribbean, eventually they were tricked. They took that opportunity to come here, all right? And they are called coolie. But Dougla are people who are of Indian and African descent. Your mother is African or could be Indian, and your father is African or Indian. So both sides of different race, you're a Dougla. But there are people who grow up around the coolie, how I would say the heritage. There are some Dougla people who there are Dougla people who are called coolie in some parts of the Caribbean. Not all, but some parts of the Caribbean, Dougla people are referred to as coolie. But as I am hearing that this is a total different thing. Coolie is not the same as Dougla. Let me know what are your thoughts in the comment section below. Now, also, I learned this through an Indian friend. on online, not here in Grenada, but online. And we were talking about coolie, and that Indian friend told me that coolie is a word used in India. It is Indians who work for people that basically what they do, they are bag carriers, so people pay them to carry their luggages, and these are coolie. They don't get much for it, but they are referred to as coolie. All right. And so guys, it's that is the misconceptions I thought we need to clear up. All right, we need to clear up that Dougla are not coolie and coolie not Dougla, and Dougla people is not based on the looks of people. You cannot make an outward judgment and say someone is coolie or someone is Dougla and they of this race or that race. You have to look at the scientific statistics on mother side and on father side, parents. All right, and so guys, we also need to understand that Dougla people are not a separate race to themselves. They belong to both races. They belong to the African side, they belong to the Indian side. That is why we have this Dougla man in Trinidad, a Calypsonian, years ago, who sang the song, well, if they're sending people back to Africa, and they're sending Africans back to Africa and they're sending Indians back to India, split me in two. And that was a clever, I thought that was uniquely composed. He says split me in two because I don't know what boat I came on. And that's the uniqueness of being a Dougla here in the Caribbean. But Dougla people should not be treated, and should not be discriminated as people different from the other. They belong to Africans and they belong to Indians. They are mixed. They have heritage on both sides. So guys, thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe to this video. See you in the next video coming up.